Hi everyone, it's Tanya. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about ceramics painting. When you do letters, for example, I haven't finished painting the letters yet, but now I'm using a piece of wood. Toothpick works better for this than this does. Or a single hair paintbrush. You can get them at Michael's or whatever. Be prepared, you're going to pay a little more for the single hair brushes. They're not cheap. $6, $7, sometimes a little more, a little less. But they work great for this kind of project. But if you don't have this, use something like a toothpick or a piece of wood with a end kind of broken down. What you're going to do is get your paint. Now I'm putting a little glitter coat this is black glitter, in here to shine the words up a little. Now, you're going to mess up the center where you want the white. You can fix that after this dries. Just go in the crevice and add just a small layer of your paint. In this case, it's black glitter paint to make the words shine a little bit. Now see, I've gotten some in the center. Don't worry about that. You can finish that up in what I call finished painting. That's where you fix all your little mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. In ceramic painting, in life, mistakes are how we learn. It's what you do with what you learn from them that is important. Sometimes you need a glob on the end because you can't get in the crevice, like this one is really small. Just push the paint on the flat like that, and then once it starts to dry, wipe it with a damp towel. I'm using acrylic paint. If you're using oils, I don't know about oils. I don't really use oils, but I would assume you could clean them up a little with the paint thinner or whatever. But just go over that. And now it's going to take more than one pass to get all your words the color you want. And just see how it's kind of got glopped on there? Let that dry till it's tacky and then clean the excess off. You can use a rag, you can use a damp paintbrush. Don't make it real wet though, because if you do that, you're going to have a problem of having too much water to your paints. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. You can also use these glitter coats. Like these are clear coats of paint with colored flecks in them. And this one's black. And on hair, since she's got black hair, I want to shine her hair up a little bit. This stuff goes on white. It'll dry clear with colored flecks in it. Whatever color you choose. And they have all different colors. So I'm just putting a liberal coat on her hair. And when her hair dries, it will have a bit of a sparkle to it. I don't like things to look too flat, so I do stuff like glitter coats to accent. I don't paint completely in glitter. I use the glitter and the metallics for accents. On this, I'm not done yet, but this is a music box. And it's 3 wise men, but the base was a really pretty wood look. I didn't want to destroy that. So you can do this with just painter's tape or a piece of paper and painter's tape, but cover the base. I say use painter's tape. You use regular tape, it's going to take the finish off when it comes off, or the paint or whatever you're trying to protect. So use painter's tape. You can get it any kind of widths. I use the thicker width, but I have like 3 different rolls with different widths. You can get it at Walmart, wherever. Or wherever Michael's, anywhere I'll have it. Joann's. But see, I just covered, and there's the original look to it right there. I want to keep that. So I covered it up. And I've used the gold glitter on the top where the hats have just a touch of gold. Because to me, these guys, they're rich. The kings were rich in the story. They need to look a little richer. That give the gold a little bit of a sparkle. And I'm going to touch up some of these colors that, to me, since I'm legally blind, they look a little flat. I'm going to touch the colors up, but I'm not really going to do too much to destroy the look of the box. You don't always have to repaint everything. You can add highlights to an existing piece and still change it to be an original that you painted without destroying the integrity and the look of the original piece. So that's how that goes. That's what I'm working on right now. And I'm gonna move your camera a little bit. Sorry about the thumb. These are what I'm working on right now. I'm gonna sell these as a set. I bought them individually. And they each have wording. This one says dream that I was just working on. This one says faith. This one says peace. I'm sorry, I'm getting used to a new phone. Faith. The big one is Noel. And dream. And I've given them each individual colors on their wings. And, you know, I'll still zhuzh up the hair a little bit and stuff. And then, can you see him? He's going to go with a Mary that you saw in a previous video. He's not done by any stretch of the imagination. The heart is going to have some red glitter on it. Not a lot. It's not going to look gaudy. It's just going to make the heart stand out a little bit. And the gold will all get touched up. And the halo will get touched up as well. You don't have to do a lot to make a piece special. Just take a few paints and enhance what's already there. You're going to still have a beautiful piece, and it'll be original because you're changing the first form of it, and it's still yours, but you don't have to go way overboard on. Now, some statues like this, especially your animal statues, you need little details in it. See how her ears have the pink in them? Her nose is painted, and her toes have the claws painted on them. I'm not great with those details, but if you leave it without the details, this is what you get. And I purposely left this one without the details to show you. This is a little candle snuffer. He needs what I call final painting. I've got to touch up some mistakes. And see how his face has no details? You can't see the eyes. You can't see the lips. You can't see the feet. There's no individual details on the back. It looks, to me, more plain without the details. So take your time. If you're not good at the details, don't expect to be perfect right off, especially if you're new with the ceramics. You can do it. You just got to take time to do it. I've begun the basket on this. And I began his coat. I have decided I'm going to change the coat color. If you have a suggestion, leave it in the comments. What color would you like to see on something like this? But see how there's a little duck there. There's a little basket there. A wagon, you know. All that's going to be detailed out because that makes the piece have more of a look to it that people are going to notice. Whether they realize they notice it or not. They're gonna, gravitate towards something that has more detail. The detail on his gloves is there, so that will stay. And then the face will be detailed out as much as I can. I've got to look up Mickey Mouse to see what I need to do with this. But this will be detailed out. It's a nice piece the way it sits. It's a very nice piece. But I think it will draw more people if there's more detail. I've just begun this one. Her hair was the white color of the ceramic, of course. But now, using metallic, and I'm partial to red hair, so I used an antique copper. You can see how the hair shines versus the white color of the ceramic when I first got her. So that is a detail that's already been put in. Her wings have individual feather looks. So I'll try to go back in, and I'm not great with detail, but I'm going to try to detail that out. She's holding a little baby. You can do that later. That's your finishing painting. Get your colors and everything down like this. Get your colors and everything put down. How you mainly want it to look. Let that dry at least overnight. Take your time with this. You can't paint when it's details, when the main paint job is tacky, you're going to smear everything all over the place, and it's not going to turn out the way you want, and you're going to be frustrated. So let it dry. I suggest overnight if you're using acrylics. It might be different if you're using oils or watercolor or chalks. The time depends on the medium you're using. And then when this is dry, come back in, do your details, and then let it dry overnight again. Then you put your clear coat on. And don't do that. Your ceramics will break you do that. For clear coat, this is not sponsored, but this is what I use. And I prefer to use the spray paint. Make sure the spray clear coat. Make sure your area is vented when you do that. Or a garage is a great place for clear coats. Set up a little table in the corner. If you need to hang something to dry, like you're doing a model car, bend a hanger and then tape the base of the model car onto the hanger or slide it in where it's going to be stable, and then hang it on a hook, a command hook or something, and then spray paint it that way, and then let it dry on the hanger overnight, and then you can go on with your project. But you want the ventilation, especially if you have asthma, breathing problems, if there's someone in the house that has breathing problems. You can wear one of your masks for going outside when you spray paint. That's a good idea too. Those COVID masks comes in handy for more than one thing. But, because I use them when I spray paint this, because I really don't have, I have a big area, but I'm in a small apartment, so I don't have a lot of ventilation. So, be careful of that, but take your time with your projects. If you're not sure how to paint something, don't rush into it. If you have a question, ask. You don't have to always use a toothbrush or toothpick. I'm sorry. You don't always have to use a paintbrush. You can use a toothbrush. That's where that sentence was going. Or if you don't have the money to buy a detail brush and you've got some old paintbrushes, take a pair of scissors and trim it down to where you need it to be. And that will become your detail brush. You can reuse old paintbrushes by trimming them up so that they can become your detail brush and you're not out money. And you can keep, we don't have a lot of money to spend. So use shortcuts when you can find them. I find toothpicks a great way to get into small spaces. So take your time. You may have to, in your finishing paint, especially if you're going over something dark with a light color, you may have to do 2 or 3 coats to get it to look the way you want. Don't get frustrated. Go slow and do it, and realize that this is your piece. It can look whatever way you want it to look. Even if you're doing it for sale, do it for you first. Make yourself happy with your product. That's very important in my mind. You don't want to do something that you wouldn't find pretty. Now, I painted this before I turned on the camera, the gold at the top. I don't know if you can see it, but you see that little bit of sparkle? It's barely there. It's dried clear. And it's just giving the gold hat a little bit of sparkle that I think a king would have. So, that's a little bit more on ceramics. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments, or if you'd like me to see me do a piece on video, I'll work on that. But if you have any ideas what colors you'd like to see the jacket, I got 2 of the boys that I just showed you, and I got 2 of these little girls. So if you want to help pick out colors for the dress, the jackets, let me know and I'll work your idea in. Hey look, there's Archer. Speaking of Archer, he's been a little bored because we're stuck in the house because it's currently snowing. So he's decided, see if I can get you down with Archer. Let's say hi. I don't know if you can see him or not, but you can hear that snort. That's him. There he is. He's taking a nap. He's rather bored because we've been in the house. But I'm not great on the camera work. I apologize for that. But I hope you enjoyed the little siesta into ceramics. Bye.